I have a resting bitch face. Welcome, travelers. We're gathered again for another episode of Let's Rewatch, the show where we get together and watch a movie that we loved from our past and see if that movie is actually still any good. Let's go around the room real quick. I'm Nick.
I'm Ash.
I'm Brett.
I'm Sam.
Am I in this?
And that's Bryce.
And we've got a special guest with us. Zach is joining us for this show.
Hello. Thanks for inviting
Hi,
me.
Zach.
Hi, Zach. We didn't tell Zach that he was joining us. We kidnapped him in an unmarked white van and brought him along.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happens every time we hang out with Zach. He loves it, you know.
We actually bought the van just for this podcast.
Just for Zach, though,
Just for
specifically.
Zach.
People need to hear your voice and identify your character with the insightful comments you're going to be giving us.
I don't think they're going to be very insightful. They're just going to be me saying everything is bad.
Yeah, Zach
Fair enough.
hates a lot of movies. But when he likes the movie, that's when you know it's really good.
Yeah.
So,
Is there anything you want to promote?
No,
Uh,
not really.
Zach
I
is
have nothing to
Zach
promote.
is like the co-writer on all of the Bread Eagles, the One Bread Eagles project.
We've co-wrote many things that haven't existed.
Yeah, that's true. Zach is my
Soulmate?
imagination buddy.
no, I thought I was the
I thought you were going to say
soulmate.
imaginary friend for a second.
Zach isn't actually here. He's imaginary.
Zach is a professional writer, and if you like the things he says,
He'll write them down for you.
he'll write it.
He's a scribe.
Yeah, he's transcribing the whole podcast for us.
His fee is really easy. All you have to do is pick him up in an unmarked white van. That's all he requests in his contract.
Weird.
It's a little
Please
weird.
don't
but
advocate that people kidnap me. That doesn't seem like a good idea.
So this week we're going to be watching Galaxy Quest from 1999. And so this to me feels like a movie that's not that old, but you know, it is from 1999, so it is 16 years old at this point. So I guess it is getting a little old.
Nick, most of us on this podcast were still considered children at that time.
Apparently. So did you see Galaxy Quest in the theaters?
No,
Any
I think
of
I
you?
watched it on TV with my dad.
This is
The silence is deafening.
Yeah.
This is actually really, really interesting, particularly for this movie, whether you saw it in the theater. So am I the only one who saw it in the theater?
I did not see it in the theater, no.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
can't remember if I did or not.
One
I'm
of the
pretty sure that was a DVD watch, like as soon as it came out. But yeah,
They did something very kind of crazy and interesting with this movie in the theater, and I don't think anybody's done it since because I don't think the idea worked. But this movie was presented in two different aspect ratios. The first maybe 20 minutes of the movie is in the Academy ratio, 1:8:5, basically your 16:9 ratio. As soon as they're on the spacecraft and they open up and you see a vista of space, the theater operator was supposed to open the curtains wider to reveal the CinemaScope aspect ratio. And you as the audience were supposed to be floored by this wide expanse of space.
Like a Wizard of Oz sort of thing.
Sort of like that.
Wow.
When I saw it in the theater, the theater manager was not doing it right, and so the first 20 minutes was just distorted because they had, I guess, the wrong lens on it, or I don't know. So I don't know. I guess we're going to watch it rented through a streaming service, and I don't know how it's going to play out. Whether we'll see that
Whether we'll
difference or
see
not.
the aspect ratio change. That kind of reminds me of the new Wes Anderson movie, or not.
oh yeah, they did
Yeah.
that a lot.
Yeah,
in,
they did that a lot where they changed aspect ratio, where they would go to 4:3 and then 16
Oh, when they
by
did
9.
the flashbacks? Was
Yeah.
that Moonrise Kingdom?
No, that was Hotel.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Hotel.
The
No,
hotel
not Hotel
one.
Chevalier.
What is it called again?
The Grand Budapest Hotel.
Grand Budapest, yeah. And that was an interesting thing, but that wasn't like specifically with the curtains or anything. That was just
Right, it was is to mark flashbacks, right?
It's like a creative decision that he made in the film, and it was like, or yeah, to mark flashbacks. Sorry, that's what
Yeah.
you. Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't to mark flashbacks.
No,
it was a
you're
creative
wrong.
decision
It
he
was
made to mark
exactly
flashbacks.
what you said. Exactly.
Yeah, that was it. So Sam is bringing Galaxy Quest to the group. So I'm curious, why Galaxy Quest?
So, as you may know, I really like fantasy movies and oftentimes really bad movies. So I hope this isn't bad.
Your last one. Though I don't know if people will have heard that yet or not, but that episode.
I love bad movies. So this one could go either way. I'm hoping it's great because it has Alan Rickman, who is amazing in everything. And it's sci-fi, which is one of my favorite genres.
And you love Star Trek, right?
I really like Star Trek, and that's what I'm most excited about, because when I watched this as a kid, I hadn't watched Star Trek, but I watched it with my dad, who is a huge Star Trek fan. So now that I'm older, I've seen Star Trek, and I'm really excited to go back and watch this, having knowledge of Star Trek. So I'm expecting a lot of funny inside jokes and things that I will now get as an adult that I did not get as a kid.
I think it's interesting that you're setting this up as, well, I like bad movies. I feel like this is generally respected as a very good movie. So I think I'm going to like it. I think most people are going to like it because I think the world generally likes this movie.
Yeah, I think it's like an enjoyment in a way that's not, it's not Academy Award winning good.
Yeah.
It's like, it's Doctor Who good, where it's good, but it's like cheese good.
Don't say cheese, say whimsy.
It's nachos.
Nachos.
I don't
It's
think
whimsical nachos.
Doctor Who is not whimsical nacho. Galaxy Quest might be. And we might have a relationship problem if you continue to diss my Doctor Who.
This is the
We'll
beginning
deal
of
with
the
that
end.
later.
Wow.
Where that's going to be part of your vows to Sam, Brett, when you guys get married, is she's going to be like, you have to promise me that you will never diss Doctor Who again.
Except for everything post-Tenet. That is fair game.
Is calling Doctor Who whimsical nachos a big diss? Because I like nachos.
And I like
You were
whimsy.
saying it as a diss. You weren't saying it as a, like, beautiful, delicious, time-traveling nachos.
Beautiful, delicious, time-traveling nachos. Can we start that hashtag,
Wibbly
please?
wobbly salsa.
Wibbly wobbly salsa? Oh, man. This is good.
Is it wibbly
it's
wobbly
not.
cheesy wheezy?
So anyway,
Yeah. So,
Anyway.
Galaxy
meanwhile,
Quest.
back at the ranch.
So I think I'm going to like this movie. Sam, you think? What do you think?
I think I'm going to love this movie,
Okay.
but I don't know if it's going to be because it's good. I think it's just because I love bad stuff. I don't know. I think I'll love it, but not necessarily because it's amazing.
Ash, what do you think?
Oh, I think I'm definitely going to love this movie. I watched this movie a lot when it came out through my childhood. I haven't seen it in a really long time, but there are distinct scenes I remember. Specifically, I remember absolutely loving Tony Shalhoub in this movie. He just has, like, I think he steals the show, and he just has, like, some hysterical lines. But I remember this movie being, I think it has, like, a fantastic way of being both whimsical, both cheesy, but, like, it's not taking itself seriously in a good way, but yet there's still moments in the film where it, like, tugs at your emotions and heartstrings. And in my opinion, that's, like, a really good making for a film where it's not taking, for a comedy anyway, where they're not taking themselves too seriously, but at the same time, the characters in the right times do take things seriously. So
you're going to be Team Shalhoub. I'm going to be Team Rockwell. I think Sam Rockwell is the shining gem in this movie.
I forgot he was in this movie.
If I'm remembering correctly.
Oh man.
Yeah. Brett, what do you think? What's going to happen?
I think I am going to love this movie.
I remember really liking this movie, and I mean, I feel like I remember a lot of it, and I think it's going to be good because it meets all of the right comedy notes of the kind of stuff that I like watching. I mean, the spoof on the genre is great, and it's mostly like the character interactions that I remember specifically that are like the best parts. So I can't really say all of them up front because I'll ruin the movie.
Right.
But it's yeah, I'm gonna like it. I think it'll be good.
All right, Zach, what do you got?
It's been a long time since I've seen this movie, and I think I'm not going to like it as much as you guys because I never cared about Star Trek as much as I think all of you guys.
Ouch.
Well,
Yeah,
to
I'm
be
sorry.
clear,
My heart.
I have never seen Star Trek.
Oh, you've never seen Star
I've
Trek?
never,
You've never seen Star Trek?
I've seen a few
Oh my
episodes of the
God.
original with William Shatner, but I have never seen, the new. I've seen the new movies for sure, but like
It's
I've
like
never.
that's like saying I've never had food with tomatoes. Like there's like a
There's
good
some people who are
3%
allergic to
of all
tomatoes.
television is Star Trek.
I've never seen Star Trek except for that new one, Enterprise.
Oh God, it's been a long road getting from
I
there
still
to
haven't heard the
here.
theme song. I don't want to taint my love of Star Trek with that. And I hear it's just dreadful.
I was so excited before Star Trek Enterprise came out, and my friends knew I was very excited. I had to work that night, so my roommates recorded it, and they saw it before I did. They just kind of sat there looking at me as the opening credits rolled, waiting for my reaction to what was the worst choice that was ever made in all of Star Trek, that opening theme song.
It was a beautiful moment the first time that happened because my family also are huge Star Trek people, and I was there during the premiere, and the excitement level before the show came up just dipped incredibly when the
it's like,
actual theme song came on.
What just happened?
Is it like that moment where you're like, "This is a joke," right? And you,
Oh, yeah.
you spend like a full minute trying to figure it out.
Oh, it
It
felt
was
like
a national
joke.
moment of despair.
It's the episode 1 for Star Trek fans.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that is a great comparison. Although I watched that as a child and loved it, and I cannot be more mad at my childhood self for liking that movie. So,
Star Wars Episode 1?
Yes.
yeah.
How old are you,
Wow.
Yeah. I'm an
How
age.
old were you when that came out?
I want to say elementary school.
1999.
99. So the same year that this movie came out. 1999.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Oh.
What a
The
great
same
vintage.
year that this
Wow.
much better space movie came out.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think anybody is going to argue that Galaxy Quest is much better than that movie. I think is going to go in the books as fact here.
So let's try and put ourselves in a headspace where we're, I think, 1 year after the end of Home Improvement,
Home Improvement.
2 years after the end of Wings, which is what gave the world Tony Shalhoub. I don't know, what, 7 or 8 years after Die Hard, which is probably where all Americans fell in love with Alan Rickman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it totally wasn't Harry Potter. Nope.
Wait, what?
Well,
Hans
this was
Zimmer?
Die
before
Hard was
Harry
way
Potter,
before
though.
Harry Potter. The world loved Alan Rickman before Harry Potter.
Die Hard made Alan Rickman.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. But I watched Die Hard for the first time within the past 5 years, so I knew him through Harry Potter.
You
Yeah,
are not
me
the
too.
world. You are the children.
Which is pretty funny when you're
You're
watching
only a
Die
year
Hard
older than me.
and you haven't seen Die Hard before, but you've seen Harry Potter, and you're like, God, Snape's an evil motherfucker, isn't he? Like the whole time you're watching that movie.
I just had a hard time taking him seriously. I was like,
Oh, you ask for a miracle, I give you the FBI.
I feel like Snape was such a nicer guy in Die Hard.
At least he wasn't a jerk to children.
So try to put yourself in that headspace. Home Improvement, Wings. You know Sigourney Weaver from Ghost.
Sigourney?
Sigourney.
Sigourney?
Alien. Aliens.
It's not delivery.
Ghostbusters. It's Sigourney. You don't know Sam Rockwell at all, and you're about to have your socks rocked from Rockwell.
Was this his first? This wasn't his
I don't
first
think it's his
film.
first, but nobody really knew Sam Rockwell before this movie.
Wow.
This is where he learned to rock well.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
but
So join us as we trek across the stars on
boy.
a quest through the galaxy.
Oh, boy.
No. Roll the clock back to 1999, and let's jump in and check out Galaxy Quest and see if it's actually any good.
Let's put it like it's 1999.
Dumb.
Oh, really? Oh, really? That song.
Editing.
Are you guys one of those podcasts that says we're going to edit this out and then don't?
No, I edit the shit out of this.
All right, so
All right.
I think a good way to start this conversation off would be to read a short line from an article that appeared on CNET and other news sources not less than 2 days ago, which reads, Amazon Studios and Paramount Television are in the early stages of development on a TV series based on the 1999 film that starred Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, and Sam Rockwell, Galaxy Quest.
Oh, man.
They're
My
making a TV
life
show about
is
a movie
complete.
about a TV show.
So meta.
Early stages of development.
Inception in real life, but not, but yet, but yes, but not.
I
Because
wonder,
of TV.
like, could they get Tim Allen on this show?
I hope so.
Maybe.
Has he done anything since like the Santa Claus 6 or whatever they're on?
Yeah, is it hard to get
He's-
Tim Allen nowadays? Or
He's one of David Mamet's guys now. He doesn't do like really huge stuff, but he does interesting stuff. Hey, what'd you guys think of Galaxy Quest?
It was a hell of a thing.
It was the most amazing shit ever. It was amazing. And not that it was shit, because it was great. And it lived up and exceeded every expectation.
It lived up
And
and,
believe it or not-
exceeded.
Yeah. These guys were laughing at it despite what they're going to tell you.
Zach was laughing at it and like hating it at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Well, I feel
little
like you're
bit, yeah.
supposed to, like, to some degree, you know, like, it's making fun of itself, right? Like, it's making fun of this whole Star Trek genre. So it's, and that's kind of what I meant by, like, it doesn't take itself seriously, but sometimes it does all at the same time.
Yeah, I do like it, and I did enjoy it, but some of the gags are just a little too on the nose.
Really?
You know,
What?
I disagree. I'm with you,
it's
Sam.
also barely a parody.
yeah, they were
Yeah.
too easy. They were shooting targets that were too easy, I think. Which I don't want to take that away from it. It's still great, but I think, yeah.
Shoot, what do you mean by
I
that?
know.
Elaborate.
Like the funny voices, the I'm a weird alien, I can't talk normal
The
stuff.
the transporter
that
that
was-
turns the thing inside out actually happened in Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Zach was mentioning that something similar happened.
I was mentioning that. Sorry. I
No,
was mentioning
Zach,
that
fired.
the whole scene where they're trying to, there's drama over using the teleporter on a human for the first time,
Right.
is an actual episode of Star Trek Enterprise.
Yes, exactly. Although that was after Galaxy Quest.
Yes, it was way after.
So-
Galaxy.
So
That's
then
like
you
reverse
can't use
parody.
that as a, yeah.
So yes, Star Trek took ideas
From
from
Galaxy Quest.
That's what it seems to be.
Now,
Wow.
I don't know a lot about Star Trek, but, like, what about the goo that covered them and then shot them into space? I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
Oh, that is
yeah, that was an original idea.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it didn't have any original ideas. I think it had some really good stuff. But there were a few gags, like the, hidden in its vulnerable spots, or the
I
That's
feel
not
like
really a
that's
gag.
like a joke from before the joke that it's about happened, which was Giant Enemy Crab.
What?
No,
What?
no one remembers Giant Enemy Crab.
you-
Bryce, you remember Giant Enemy
The
Crab?
fuck are you talking about?
sounds like something you're going to edit out.
This is terrible.
We're not here to please our listeners.
Right.
Dead air is fine. This is podcasting. This is the future.
Oh my god.
Fix it in
Speaking of the
post.
future, Star Trek is amazing, and their parody of it in the beginning was hilarious, especially with the little kid that was piloting the
Yeah.
whole entire ship.
I was going to ask you, like,
I was-
because so for me, I'm coming from the perspective of, like, I don't know a lot of these Star Trek things, so I'm just enjoying it as someone who doesn't know. So did you catch more Star Trek jokes this time around?
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
it's
Because
full
I
of
mean, they
Star
all
Trek
went.
jokes.
Yeah, they all went over my head, and having seen the entire Next Gen series, it's hilarious to me now.
Like,
But aren't there actual jokes?
No,
yeah,
it's
like,
more
well,
just like
they're-
well,
when he's on the planet with the rock monster and
Rock
Laredo,
monster.
he's like, you need to look around your environment and see if you can construct a weapon from what's around you. Like, that's directly from the Kirk and Gorn fight. Like, that's a joke
Right.
directly from Star
Episode
Trek.
number. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't quite know that.
So did it make it more enjoyable for you, Sam?
I would say
Yes,
yes,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Because it seems like
Yeah.
it made it less enjoyable for people like Nick and Zach. Would you guys say that
No. I think
No.
that's a good gag, but there are other gags that are just.
But like it sounds
They're
like your
shooting easy
problem with
targets.
the movie was these Star Trek things that, like, to me, they're just all original new things to me, and so I don't have a problem with them.
I think we fell down this weird path of we're having a conversation about what for me was just such a minor little complaint. Like
oh my god!
I wouldn't
oh
put,
my god!
I wouldn't put any stock
I
in that. It
think
was just every now and then the gags were too on the nose, and
All right.
But
Yeah, I think that it's less of the Star Trek jokes that were the problem, and more that the slapstick was ridiculous.
But that's part of its charm.
Yeah.
I don't know. The physical comedy is hilarious. Like the way the aliens move and like they clap with their hands facing up and down and like bob their heads weird.
Yeah,
and-
I thought it was hilarious
It got
because
kind of
it's their
old.
reflection of what they
Oh.
think that humans are. But what's interesting, Nick, is like I felt that way about Wet Hot American Summer, but I don't feel that way about this one, and
Oh,
you
that's
felt the
interesting.
opposite.
Yeah.
So perhaps it's just like different tastes in comedy, and I grew up
Unquestionably.
watching slapstick comedy, so I'm like a big fan of that genre.
yeah, these things land differently for different people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But like things like the three of us didn't even have like a smile, half a smile going when they fucking hit that guy in space like a bug on the windshield.
Oh God, I laughed
laughed.
actually.
I remember
Yeah,
thinking
I
that
did
was
too.
amazing the first time I saw it. This time it's like, meh.
See, I didn't remember that part. I didn't expect it coming.
It's a
so
great
he's
gag.
like, General, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Right.
And then it hits the windshield, and I just wasn't expecting it at all. And I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, that's a good gag. I don't know why it didn't hit me very hard this time, but
Well, if you're expecting it, it's the type of thing that
I
it's
wasn't
like,
expecting it either.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So there's something that I didn't want to mention before watching the movie because I guess it's kind of a spoiler. But there's something that I've noticed. There is a certain set of movies that have exactly the same plot, which is Galaxy Quest, Three Amigos, and Bug's Life. And the story is we villagers are under attack. We have seen the performance of the heroes that will save the villagers. We believe the performance is real. So we go and hire the heroes to help us, and it turns out they're not real heroes. So it's exactly the same
part of
story
the
as
hero's
Bug's Life and Three Amigos.
Yeah. Yeah, not even on that like archetype level, but like literally the same plot.
Yeah.
That's really
That's
interesting.
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think they're that close. I mean, the premise is the same, but Bug's Life comes down really the opposite direction, where Bug's Life is all about how they could always save themselves. Where
Yeah.
this movie is really, you need the crew. The crew is the stars, versus Flick, the ant, is the star of a Bug's
there's
Life.
certainly differences, but here's what I want you to do, Zach. I want you to imagine for a moment the main villain in
Close
Bug's
your
Life.
eyes.
Once you've got the main villain in Bug's Life in your head, now get in your head the main villain from Galaxy Quest and put them side
Yeah,
by
he kinda-
side.
I was thinking during the movie, he reminds me a lot of Hopper.
Yeah.
I will admit that.
And I would say that, like, while I think you have a very valid point, Zach, I would say also a little bit of the ending was, that Mathazar is the leader that his people really needed all along, and they're kind of like, hey, you're actually the valid leader that your people need. So a little bit of that happened. Definitely they have more of the spotlight though, but
Yeah,
It-
but he didn't really do much to save them.
right.
I mean,
He got his ass
they were like,
tortured.
you.
He beat someone up with
Yeah.
a cane.
True.
Well,
Yeah.
it's kind of funny that like they obviously had as a society the means to not get fucking murdered. Because they could just watch a show and make this like universe altering time traveling thing on a button.
Without knowing what it did.
Yeah, like at all.
That was always the part of this movie that I could not get on board with. It's like, we built this ship and we don't know how to fly it.
Well,
What?
I don't think they
And they
said that
also
they didn't
built-
know how to fly it. They were just giving them
Yeah.
the opportunity to fly it because they had a crew that was flying
Yeah.
it before.
They actually say that every time they use their own technology, it does not work out
Oh,
well.
Right,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
All right. So they didn't
But I
fly it
wonder,
before.
I wonder if that's them in general or them specifically because they're like the 50 people that made it off the planet.
Yeah.
That's one of those cases
Oh,
where
that's a good
that is a
point.
good explanation. They should have put that in the movie.
Save only the stupid
Like,
people.
like the people who knew how to use this are dead.
Yeah, that I would have.
That would have been good, yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been. So I want to talk about the fact that Rainn Wilson was in this movie and then just disappears.
That was on my list.
What the hell?
He was the one who
He
could
shows
not talk
up
like
like
an
once or
idiot.
twice.
He was like regular Rainn Wilson voice.
It was like Dwight doing a fan impression
Yeah.
of.
It totally was.
I'm doing
Yep.
his own alien voice. It was, yeah, I was like, oh my God, Rainn Wilson. And I looked it up on IMDb, and this was his first movie, actually. Before this.
Really?
Yeah, before this, he did a TV show, but this was his first movie, and in 1999, he did another movie as well. So I don't know if that conflicted with this one, and that's why he's not in the second half. I don't know.
Funny thing, I think Rainn Wilson was actually in an episode of Monk
Oh.
as the murderer.
He was.
Because I
remember that episode.
Yeah, I was watching that episode with one of my college roommates, and they show him in silhouette, and I was like, "That's Rainn Wilson." And they're like, "No, it's not."
You're
like,
understating
it is.
this. It was fucking like it was like a CSI like enhanced. Like I think that's Rainn Wilson in the fucking crowd, like the baseball crowd in the background, and I was like, the fuck you talking about? Like that's just like 3 pixels on the screen. And then they like cut away and cut back closer, and it's fucking Rainn Wilson, and I'm like, oh my god, what the hell?
I told you it was him. Nobody believed me, but it was.
If we ever need a
So,
Where's
yeah.
Waldo moment with Rainn Wilson, call Sam.
What's funny about
I'm
that
your
is
lady.
when that scene happened in Galaxy Quest, I was like, oh my God, is that Bill Hader?
Yeah.
And
Nick
then
thought it
Ash
was Bill
like,
Hader.
No, that's Rainn Wilson.
No, that's Rainn Wilson. It was amazing.
Yeah, we totally forgot Jason Long was
Yeah.
in this too.
Yeah,
Justin
Justin
Long.
Long.
Justin Long,
Justin
sorry.
Long, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the thing that gave the world Justin Long.
Really?
Yeah, Justin Long
well.
in yet another part where he's a forgettable character.
Yeah.
But such a familiar face.
Yeah, I'm always like, I see Justin Long so many places, and he's never the star of anything.
I was
He
I was
the
like,
star of-
where do I know this guy from? So I looked him up and I was like, I don't feel like I've seen anything in particular where I would be like, yeah, that guy. But I know him.
Yeah.
It occurred to me watching this movie, I enjoy finding what I like to think of as looper pairs. You
Wait,
know,
like the movie Looper?
yeah, like Joseph Gordon-Levitt
Oh,
and
boy.
Bruce Willis were like really good looper pairs. Right?
Okay.
I think that Tim Allen and Justin Long would make great looper pair.
I don't know.
Oh God, no.
I don't think they look.
No.
I don't think they
No.
look
No.
anything alike.
I totally think it would work. I think they're a good looper
I thought
pair.
you were just gonna say that Justin Long looks a hell of a lot like Joseph Gordon-Levitt there.
Yeah, he
That's-
does.
That's what I was thinking too.
Him and Jay Baruchel, they all kind of morphed together to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
So Brett, what did you think?
I thought this was pretty great. It definitely lived up to my mental hype. But I wasn't expecting on rewatching this that Tony Shalhoub was that amazing.
Dude, I'm telling you, he's the best part of the movie.
You know what's funny is
You
I
called it.
was Team Rockwell before, and after the movie, I'm Team Shalhoub.
Totally Tony
Yeah.
Shalhoub. He's
Yeah.
amazing.
Tony Shalhoub deserves all the good things that come his way because he's amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. He was hilarious and thoroughly enjoyed his performance and character.
I do love that moment
And I-
with Sam Rockwell where Sam Rockwell's like, "Are you high?" Like to Tony Shalhoub.
That could not possibly have been scripted.
I know.
I think that what Tony Shalhoub did with that character could not have possibly been in the script.
Right.
Like, I'm sure he made that up on set. And then at a certain point, the actors were like, what is happening right now?
Brett noticed a funny thing when Sigourney Weaver and Tim Allen's characters were going to go through the Crusher part,
Uh-huh.
the bad dub.
Oh yeah, the awful.
Oh, screw this.
Screw this.
Yeah.
And it's very obviously not screw this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
hilarious.
it's like, well, I mean, That must have been like the best reaction take, or they only shot one shot of that.
I think they may have been actually paring it down for like PG-13 or PG or whatever, because when the rock monster has its like hero moment and Tim Allen says, "Oh darn," I think they probably dubbed that to soften it.
It didn't look like it was dubbed, but I also thought similar lines in that exact scene. I thought how hilarious it was that Sigourney Weaver's shirt was like totally zipped up in one shot, and then we cut to an insert and we cut back and her shirt is completely unzipped for absolutely no reason, because they've just been standing in this room. But
Well, of course, you'd know the reason. I mean, that's the gag, is that she's been
it's
exploited.
like before. Well, yeah, I
That's
know
the
the
gag
gag,
for that
but
character.
like there was just it's just like literally the same scene. It would be like cutting to a shot of somebody cutting away and cutting back, and suddenly their shirt's off. Like it wasn't.
It's a
They did
continuity
that.
error.
Yeah, they did that.
Tim Allen went
yeah.
from shirt to shirtless in 3 cuts.
It's ripped
although
off by the rock monster.
We never see it ripped off. It was like on and then half off and then completely off.
See it weirdly like slide off.
I'm with
It
you,
didn't
Zach.
make sense.
Yeah, because I remembered the whole the gag of "I see you got your shirt off," so I was kind of paying attention during that whole thing. And it's like he's fighting the pig with his jacket. He loses a jacket. Then his shirt gets ripped fighting the rock monster. And there's a moment where the rock monster is holding him, and his shirt is like up around his shoulders. The rock monster throws him, and the shirt stays in the rock monster's hand.
So what you're telling me is that you
Oh.
spent a whole
Yeah.
time like dedicated to
Watching
looking at
his
Tim.
shirt get peeled off.
Looking at Tim Allen's nipples is what you were looking
Just
for.
waiting for that
waiting for the
moment.
nip slip.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at least it was Tim Allen that got like the beefcake shot before they started undressing anyone else.
You don't want to see Rickman?
He's British. There's nothing to see.
Yeah, he's British, everyone.
I like to imagine he looks like
I'm-
he looked in Dogma, which was
What?
Oh,
He was
man.
in
Does he take his
Dogma?
shirt off?
yeah. He was the archangel, and he had no parts.
The voice of
He was
God.
the
I
Ken
don't
doll
remember.
downstairs.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Alan Rickman
I
has
have not
quite a
seen that movie.
diverse
Yeah.
acting career.
A diverse, wide set amount of movies, but the same character.
Sometimes it feels like Alan Rickman cares about his career, and sometimes it doesn't.
Well, it's funny you say that, Sam,
That's
because I
his
made the
charm.
comment when the movie is over that we just saw Sam Rockwell as Sam Rockwell. Like, that was absolutely the Sam Rockwell character that you see in every other Sam Rockwell movie. Enjoyable
Yeah.
though it may be. He just seems
He's
so
so
slimy
adorable.
and
Yeah,
swarthy.
if you gave Guy whatever a couple $1 million, he would be the Hammer from.
Oh
Iron
yeah,
Man.
Justin Hammer.
Well, he was actually the Hammer. What's his Hammer face? Hammer time. Fucking the villain.
MC Hammer.
He was the villain.
Are you?
He was the bad guy.
You're talking about
What are you
Justin
talking
Hammer in
about?
Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know. I was.
Zach was
I
looking
was
at me
making
like
a
he
I have no idea what
he's
you're
like, what the
talking
fuck are you
Oh.
talking about,
You
bro?
referred to him as the Hammer.
Because I couldn't remember his name. He's Hammer Man.
Right. One thing that I really liked, do you remember I was talking about that thing, and I don't know, like clearly we didn't see it in the streaming version, but where the aspect ratio would change,
Oh yeah.
right? So the moment where he's standing on the platform and he sees the planets out there, that would have been the moment where it changed from 185 to CinemaScope, which watching it again is kind of brilliant because the very, very, very beginning of the movie was the old TV show, which was 4:3.
Right.
They pulled out from that into the convention, and we would have been in 185 as the real world. And then they would have pulled out again the CinemaScope when he was in
Right.
space. I think that's kind of a good mechanic. It's too bad you don't really get the effect of it.
Yeah.
As
Because
They didn't have that in the stream.
no, did you guys have it?
Give me a sec, because
I don't think we had it.
I'm pretty sure like the opening sequence was 4:3.
Well, yeah,
was,
but we're
so-
talking
But he's
about
saying there was a second transition.
yeah, we're talking about when
Oh,
he
wait, what
sees
is- what's going
space for the first time.
But it's kind of a cool, and like you were comparing it to the Wizard of Oz. It's kind of this really neat way of setting a completely different time and
Space.
that's not.
It was a pun.
It's like this level of existence. Like there's this.
Zach got it.
there's like the TV world, and then there's like what we think is okay. This is real, and then there's like this is really, really real.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's a good. It's creative filmmaking. Yeah.
But it's a little too big for its britches, in my opinion. I don't know.
The
I
concept.
would agree with that. I would
Yeah.
agree
It
with
only plays
that this
in
movie
the
has no
theater,
business being
and
this good.
if the
Yeah.
theaters didn't do it properly, then oh well.
I don't know. I think with this story, it's more about the comedy than it is about like the cinematic masterpiece.
Oh, I see.
And I feel like,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's cool that they would have tried it, but I don't think it's fitting for the tone of this movie for them to have made that decision.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I think.
Yeah, how late into the theatrical run did you see the movie? How profitable was this? Was this like a big hit at the time? I'm not
think it
aware
Did
of that.
pretty well.
I think this is
Let me
one of
see.
those cult
I can go ahead and
movies.
Yeah.
I
continue
always got
while I
that
look at some IMDb's.
Zach, what did you think?
I think I like it, but I also think it's a really weird movie in that like the actual story and the plot and all that kind of stuff is really weird and it's skipped over and bad, but it's really funny and entertaining.
So why do you think the plot is bad? Just like the general idea, or
What's really like there's no motivation for the villain. He's just a bad guy.
That's true.
He just is angry at them and doesn't like them and wants
Well,
to kill them.
his motivation is
want the thing.
yeah, he wants the thing. Whatever the thing is. It's kind of weird that he wants the thing and then he's like, blow up the spaceship with the thing I want. Right? Like
Yeah, he doesn't make any
that
sense.
didn't make any much
it
sense.
was clearly like, okay, we want to put them in this situation, and we want to put them in this situation, and then this situation. Write me a path from one situation to the next.
Or was the whole plot a spoof on
Yes.
shitty, like, non sequitur Star Trek
Definitely.
plots?
See, that's
Sure.
the thing is like it's kind
That's
of brilliant.
too high concept.
It's a too high concept for the movie.
It's way too high concept. Like no one's gonna get that.
But I got it, and as I was watching the movie,
And it only took, like, 15 years.
Hey, I haven't even seen Star Trek, and I understood like there were several things like the stupid smasher things that they have to walk through that they're even like this is stupid, and they flat out call out.
poorly written.
Yeah, they call it
Yeah.
out, and I think the whole thing is supposed to be like. I think it's forgivable because it's like, yeah, we know this is ridiculous and over the top. Like the whole idea of a civilization seeing a TV show and thinking that it's like historical documents, even though there's an opening credits that clearly tells you like so and so playing this person, is like ridiculous and totally something that you would only see on one of those, ridiculous original Star Trek episodes kind of thing. So I feel like it's a bit forgivable because they're like trying to make fun of that.
Yeah, it's also, I feel like it's forgivable too because it's a character-driven story and not necessarily like all about the intricacies of the plot. Because you want to see how these characters react, and you don't really care about how they got into that situation. You just want to know like what they'll do,
Right.
And
Which
how
goes
they'll
back
respond,
to
and that's part of the
slapstick
charm.
comedy principles is it's not about how did Buster Keaton get on that train. It's about how does Buster Keaton interacting with this train that's funny and entertaining. But when you really boil down the general, it's like a 2-hour movie of Buster Keaton on a train, which doesn't sound interesting.
Which means, Zach, don't overanalyze the plot.
Oh.
I understand. But I will say,
Go for
and I
it.
wish I had an example here, but I don't, that you can have a really well integrated plot in a good slapstick comedy. Those exist.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of them, but they definitely exist.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Well, this is, meta outside the podcast zone, but that's like exactly the point Hector was trying to make yesterday about Looney Tunes and how like the slapstick tells the story and they're not separate from each other. It's not like a story where there's also jokes, but like they're actually using the comedy to
progress
the plot.
yeah. Yeah, that's true.
What Looney Tunes have plots?
Like,
Can't really think of any.
Feed the
What was he
kitty.
talking about? Was it the Elmer Fudd? Like,
Oh, okay, yeah. Yes, you're right. Looney Tunes is a pretty good example of that.
Thanks, Hector Navarro.
That's the wonderful Hector Navarro, who is going to be on one of our Let's Drinks episodes. So you have that to look forward to. Let's drink. Let's drinks. I swear I'm not
Wow.
drunk, Mom. I swear I'm not drunk. So,
This
Nick,
time.
what did
Today.
you
Anymore.
think, Nick?
Yeah, I think it was very good. It is very good. I think it's absolutely a great movie. I think I enjoyed it a lot more the first time that I saw it 15 years ago. Yeah, it's definitely fun. It just didn't hit me as hard. You know, I think that something very, I don't know, kind of a bummer about it is, you know, Tim Allen's supposed to be just hit like a ton of bricks with this stark realism of the situation that he's in. And that moment is meant to be carried by this visual effects makeup on Saris that is supposed to be the moment that he realizes this isn't a fake thing. This isn't kids playing around in a set. This isn't a convention. It's a real monster. And unfortunately, that makeup fell very, very flat. I did not feel like that was real at all. It was very like his mouth is not moving with the dialogue. You know?
Oh, yeah.
There was an entire scene on the alien ship where everything was mismatched with the dialogue.
Yeah.
Can I save you from the internet's wrath for a second here? Because Saren was not makeup; he was an animatronic head.
Whoa.
Okay, thank you.
But-
Yeah,
it's
I
still
mean,
the
it's-
same. The argument is there. It's, you know, we're talking about these movies in context of does it hold up to a modern audience, and I don't think it holds up to a modern audience because I can see the strings. You know,
I couldn't see strings.
And
well, I don't mean
and
literal strings.
we work with the animatronic head people.
Yeah, I know.
And when there's dialogue, the lips match, man.
Yeah, he was a lot better after he got beat up a little bit, and I'm not really sure why.
Well, you know, don't talk to me about animatronic lips not matching because you go back. What would it have been? 10 years previous?
Because Nick
and
has
you-
worked really hard on getting his own animatronic lips to match over the.
So my point is, like 10 years earlier, Little Shop of Horrors.
Right.
And they really put some work into it. And they filmed the puppet at like half speed so that they could speed it up to make it actually look like it was singing. So they devised a new way to shoot the puppet to make it work.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Is it part of the charm of making fun of that genre? Like, is it intentional? Is it perhaps
I don't think in
making
that case,
fun of it?
because
I mean,
that was the moment where he was supposed to realize this is not fake, this is actually real.
Mm-hmm.
And that moment should have been carried with your absolute best attempt at making it look real.
And if he really wanted to make fun of Star Trek, shouldn't he have been a forehead alien?
Absolutely.
By which I mean an alien with a weird forehead.
Yeah.
Like, which Alan Rickman was clearly making fun of that.
Now, on that note, I feel like for 1999, the CG held up
Yeah.
surprisingly well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Surprisingly
Yeah.
well. I mean, we just watched, was it Starship Troopers?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
You're in love with
I
Paul
don't feel like
Verhoeven now?
that CG. And yeah, we watched that before. I did not like it, but I wasn't thrilled. But I don't feel like the CG in that one was as good as the CG in Galaxy Quest.
By which we mean the CG in Starship Troopers was fucking bad.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Isn't that whole movie just
I mean-
bad, though?
No.
I've never seen it.
Such a
No.
great movie.
I feel like it falls into the category of awesomely bad.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
thought
it's
it was.
it's awesomely bad, but it's another satire. It's like making fun of the genre of like
Yeah.
the war action thing. But
Yeah.
It is a
But if given a choice between that and Galaxy Quest, I would pick Galaxy Quest 1,000 times over.
Starship Troopers.
You would pick Starship
Without
Troopers?
hesitation.
Wow.
Starship
I
Troopers
think I would
is
pick
awesome.
Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Zach's on Team Galaxy Quest. Well,
People are the worst.
I am on Team Galaxy Quest as well. I thought it was really good. I feel like it totally held up for me. Like, I definitely noticed the lip thing, and that was kind of like, you know, I could see how it takes you out of it. But I felt the actual prosthetics and makeup and CG on everything looked pretty damn good, considering.
and Alan Rickman's slowly failing prosthetics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought it was all really good. I enjoyed the whole thing, and I think it shows that this movie stands up even if you haven't seen a lot of Star Trek. You can still enjoy it as well.
So, Bryce, what did you think of Galaxy Quest?
It was good.
All right. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I don't mean to bust you open, but out of the group, Bryce was the only person who had never seen Galaxy Quest ever.
What?
This was his
I was
first
gonna ask
view.
that.
Yeah. So, Bryce, did it hold up to a modern day expectation?
Yes.
Perfect.
There's our answer,
Yeah.
guys. We need to discuss no more. It has been settled.
All right, so I think Galaxy was a success. I think that was a good use of our time, and
Do you?
I did.
Is that how you're going to end it? Just telling the audience, yes, this was good. Don't worry. I don't care what you thought. It's great.
How else are the viewers or the listeners supposed to know how they're supposed to feel about the show if we don't tell them?
It's great.
Great. So
line or something.
we'd love to hear what you think about Galaxy Quest if you watched along. So you can always drop us a line on Twitter. Let us know if you liked Galaxy Quest, if you hated Galaxy Quest, if you have some ideas for some movies that we should cover on Let's Rewatch. And you can find us at Let's Rewatch on Twitter. No underscores or spaces or anything.
And Let's Rewatch is part of Laughstash TV. Please check us out at Laughstash TV. You can follow us on Twitter at Laughstash TV, and then you can find us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is Laughstash TV as well.
What was I going to say? I have a website now. Did I tell you guys? I owned the domain for breadeagles.com for like 3 years now, and never actually
Used it.
linked it to my website.
Are you shitting
Wow.
me? I have spent more time reviewing your website than I have on Pinterest, so that's unsettling. You have like showed me all the different new layouts of your website and stuff.
Anyway, you can find the Brett music at breadeagles.com. It's bread, the food, eagles, the bird, and
Like a delicious flying
also
sandwich.
also on Twitter at bread_eagles.
You should introduce that as Bread, the 70s band, Eagles, the 70s band.
That's perfect. And you can download like an hour of Brett's music for free, which is pretty awesome. Especially if you like, 8-bitty stuff.
I'm never going to release it as an album.
Because why not?
Anyway, thanks to Zach again for being
Yeah,
here.
thanks, Zach. Can people follow you anywhere?
Sorry I can't plug stuff. I know you're supposed to like come on podcasts to plug stuff.
Zach is professionally opinionated. If you have a question to ask Zach, do you have a Twitter or?
I do not.
Okay, you can ask any of us, and we'll ask Zach for you.
Or you can go outside and just shout into the universe, and Zach will hear you somewhere.
Hashtag Ask Zach.
Yeah.
I am omniscient. It's weird.
Yeah, let's use hashtag Ask Zach.
Yes. Tweet at us with hashtag Ask Zach, and we will get you answers. Well, maybe
This
just
whole bit's getting
questions.
cut.
Zach will answer your
Amplify
question
your
with a
question.
question.
All right, so thanks for joining us for another Let's Rewatch and Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, next week we're gonna be watching Cheech and Chong Still Smoking.